Shalom, y'all. In today's video, I'm going to take you along to a couple of different places. The first is Petroglyph National Monument. That's along I-40 in New Mexico. And I only went to one portion of the park. There's I think 3 different areas, and walked along a trail. So that part of the video is just like the first minute and a half or so of the video. And then the next one is Pecos National Monument. And Pecos is a really cool place. I learned a lot while I was reading some of the information after I'd already been there. And so I went ahead and did a bunch of voiceover. I spent a lot of time giving you a lot of the history of the place and just information about it. So I do hope that you'll watch the video all the way through and get all the cool information about Pecos. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, hit the like button. I've noticed that a lot of my subscribers don't have the notifications button pushed, so please do push that so that you'll get timely notifications of when I have new videos out. I do hope that you enjoy my videos. Give me some comments. Let's talk about it. Do all the good stuff. I hope you are having a very pleasant day wherever you are, and I hope you enjoy traveling along with me. Thank you. Petroglyph National Monument protects one of the largest petroglyph sites in North America, featuring designs and symbols carved into basalt boulders by American Indians and Spanish settlers 400 to 700 years ago. The monument was established in 1990 to protect the petroglyphs and related archaeological sites on Albuquerque's West Mesa. Surveys confirmed the presence of more than 24,000 petroglyphs along the volcanic escarpment. Petroglyphs are a valuable record of cultural expression and hold profound spiritual significance for certain contemporary American Indian tribes and for heirs of local Spanish land grants. While there are many similarities between images found on Kiva murals and painted pottery, the original meaning of each petroglyph is known only by its creator. Whether or not their interpretations are known or their purpose understood in the 21st century, all petroglyphs preserve the beliefs and virtues of their makers. The petroglyphs here are a vital part of the heritage of the American Indian people who continue to live in the region. Equally so, they are part of our national story and heritage. The Piedras Marcadas Canyon Trail offers some of the best view of petroglyphs in the park. Carved into the volcanic rocks, these petroglyphs include animals, human-like figures, spirals, and hand and footprints. Those who made these petroglyphs have long worked to maintain harmony in their natural world. Many of the images left on the rocks may represent ancestors and ties between this and the spirit world. Coming into Pecos National Historic Park. Open 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The Bark Ranger program at Pecos National Park, which Jazzy and I participated in, required Jazzy to have her photo taken in front of several different things, so you're going to notice her quite a bit throughout this video. Pecos National Historic Park commemorates thousands of years of human travel through this part of New Mexico. The park protects Pecos Pueblo, Spanish Mission Church, the Civil War Battle of Glorieta Pass, Kozlowski's Trading Post, the Fork Lightning Ranch, and 3 miles of the Pecos River. Climb down the ladder into this reconstructed kiva, a place where Pueblo people performed rituals to ensure their well-being. Each kiva society constructed different kinds of ceremonies to ensure a successful hunt or harvest or to cure the sick. Rows of loom anchors, which are twig loops embedded in kiva floors, show that kivas were also workrooms where men wove the kilts and sashes worn by dancers. Pecos Pueblo has more than 20 kivas. They share some similar features, which is an entryway through the roof, which also served as a chimney, a ventilator shaft to conduct fresh air into the room, typically oriented toward the east, a deflector to shield the fire from drafts, and a fire pit. Some kivas also have a small hole in the floor called a sipapu, which symbolizes the Pueblo people's emergence from the underworld. Many Pueblo people see the kiva as a depiction of their universe, with the sipapu representing what lies below. The kiva floor symbolizing this world, and the roof entry representing what is above. This is the trash mound. It says here the trail is built over trash and debris accumulated over centuries of people living in Pecos Pueblo. Pecos Pueblo is an icon in southwestern archaeology. From 1914 until 1929, archaeologist Alfred Kidder's innovative research methods exposed artifacts in layers, creating a timeline of the Pueblo's history. What people throw away over time reveals a great deal about their society. Excavating the trash mound, Kidder's cutting-edge work revealed centuries of the Pueblo's growth and decline. Kidder chose Pecos because of its long and continuous occupation, trade center location, and centuries-old debris mounds. Underground ceremonial rooms called kivas were the center of Pueblo life. The Pecos people used this kiva you see here for religious activities for at least 200 years. The Civil War battle fought in the Glorieta Pass is often referred to as the Gettysburg of the West. Union forces dashed the Confederacy's strategy to seize the Southwest's major supply base at Fort Union. Brigadier General Henry Hopkins Sibley's plan envisioned gaining control of the gold fields of Colorado, mineral-rich Nevada, the ports of California, as well as the northern Mexican states of Chihuahua, Sonora, and Baja California. Their defeat at the Battle of Glorieta Pass ended the Confederates' incursion into the Southwest. The Texas vanguard captured Santa Fe on March 10, 1862. On March 28, after 2 days of battle at Glorieta Pass, Union troops, including Colorado and New Mexico volunteers, burned a poorly guarded Confederate supplies camp, spiked cannons, and slaughtered or freed hundreds of horses and mules. Within 2 weeks of their defeat, Confederate troops were forced to withdraw to Texas. The Glorieta Pass battlefield was designated a historic landmark on November 5, 1961. Pretty flowers? She loves the pretty flowers. Yes, she does. The wall around Pecos Pueblo served as the city limits. During the day, visiting traders from other pueblos and the Great Plains enlivened the field outside the city limits with their brisk trade. At night, though, the field quieted as they slept. The story of Pecos is one of change and of a people flexible enough to meet this change, preserve traditions, and survive for centuries in this mountain valley. There's my Jazzy girl, otherwise known as Fernway, which is a German word for always wants to be where she's not. You missed it just now. She was pulling on her leash. And that's where she got the name. In this area are the buried houses of the Pecos people. The name Pecos is derived from the native Tawa word, which means the place above the water. In its heyday, Pecos was a thriving village of perhaps 2,000 people. Plains, Apache, and Navajo traded and pitched their teepees in the fields and forests. It was also home to a military power, proud of its ability to subdue other pueblos at will. This was the porteria, which means porter's lodge, and was the mission's business office and reception area. The convento housed the priests and mission activities. If you entered a convento room in the 1700s, the portero, which is the porter, greeted you. The portero, usually a Pecos neophyte or new convert, slept here to guard the convento at night. Special statuses, like portero, were awarded as a way of integrating Pueblo people into Christian society. Neophytes also served in the convento as interpreters, cooks, bell ringers, and servants. Fray Jose de Araniguay completed the last Pecos church by 1717. This church was less ambitious in design than the one it replaced and served a smaller population. Wind, water, and vandalism have reduced it to a partial shell, though much of the original adobe remains. The timbers above the doorway are what is left of the beams supporting the roof. The friars taught the Pecos people woodworking, and they excelled at it. Soon the woodworkers' talents were in demand throughout northern New Mexico. As you leave the church through the doorway on the right, you will enter the convento. Back then, walking through the convento involved finding your way through dim passageways and small, sparsely furnished rooms. In the fall of 1540, the Pueblo welcomed a Spanish expedition with the music of drums and bird-bone flutes. A scouting party of Francisco Coronado's expedition, led by Hernando de Alvarado, arrived at Pecos Pueblo in search of Clavera, a rumored settlement on the plains with precious metals. The Spaniards also said their king wished for the Pecos people to be his subjects and know the Christian God. The Pecos lives changed forever. What you see today is the last of 4 adobe mission churches built at Pecos over the course of almost 100 years. In 1598, the Spanish returned to settle. With the settlers came the Franciscan priests who established a mission. Padre Ortiz built the first church around 1617 or 18 in the rocky wooded hills outside the Pueblo. This may reflect the initial reluctance of the Pecos people to embrace Christianity. By 1625, a new, much larger second church was built south of Pecos Pueblo. This church was destroyed in the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. A temporary one-room third church was constructed just south of the present church using a wall of the convento. This church was used until the present church was completed around 1717. This fourth church was built on the remains of the 1625 church and was the last church built at Pecos. Because it is so close to the mission, some archaeologists believe those who resided in the South Pueblo were more allied with the Spaniards than those who resided in the North Pueblo. 2/3 of the South Pueblo remains in the unexcavated mound extending toward the church. These walls and doorways tell us much about the living arrangements in the South Pueblo. In this military structure, families occupied the rooms on upper floors. Rooms opening to the outside were living quarters, while those opening only into other rooms were for sleeping and storage. Because of their small size, these rooms were easy to heat. Doorless ground floor rooms were entered through the roof and used for trash disposal and storage. This open flagstone patio marked the heart of the convento. The walkway around it was covered. The rooms surrounding it had various uses. The kitchen and dining room were in the far left corner. Rooms with fireplaces were sleeping rooms, while others may have been workrooms or storerooms. The drain in the patio is original and dates from the first convento. Water ran off the sloped roof of the passageway into the patio and collected in the drain, which led to a cistern at the other end of the convento. Here is evidence of one of the first structures built in the convento and one of the last. The small rings of stones in front of you mark where builders set posts in the ground to support the roof of a ramada or brush shelter. Visitors to the first church tied their horses here in the shade. The large foundation to the right of the ramada is what is left of a D-shaped torreon or watchtower built a century and a half later. During the Comanche raids of the mid-1700s, the gates of the Pueblo were fortified and Spanish troops were stationed here. Walls made of adobe bricks quickly erode and melt without protection. The National Park Service protects the original adobe walls of the church and convento by encasing the walls in new adobe brick veneers. This ensures the remaining original adobe brick walls from the 1600s and 1700s are preserved and the form and outline of the mission remains intact. Condition assessments show that many walls in the church and convento still have original adobe brick over 150 years after the Pecos people departed. It is uncommon to find a Pueblo religious structure, such as a kiva, in a Franciscan convento. Perhaps the Padres believed it would be easier to teach the Pecos peoples Christianity in a structure where they were used to learning religion. It may have been an attempt to link the two religions and promote a brotherhood between differing faiths. This kiva was built before the Pueblo Revolt between approximately 1620 and 1640. The date range is based on its construction using distinctive black adobe bricks and dating of the last use of the fire pit inside. There are only 2 other examples of kivas within mission conventos, making this a rare and fascinating Pecos mystery. A complex of stone walls forms a series of corrals which were probably used to hold livestock. Some of these open areas may have also been workshops and storage areas. The Spanish introduced a variety of livestock to the Pueblo, including cattle, sheep, and pigs. Sheep were more common initially, but by the 1700s more cattle were being bred and used for meat, hides, and milk. Some prized animals, such as dairy cows, may have been kept in the room with a cobblestone floor. This floor may have been easier to clean. There was also evidence of turkey coops in this area. The Spanish missionaries partially supported their efforts through raising livestock and trade. They exchanged metal tools and livestock for piñon nuts, hides, and cotton blankets, otherwise known as mantas, which were woven by the Pueblos. Due to circumstances beyond their control, the Pecos people had to leave this Pueblo. Because of the threat of Comanche raids and encroachment of livestock on fields, they found farming to be increasingly difficult. By the 1800s, new Hispanic settlements in the valley had taken over what remained of the fertile agricultural fields that supported the Pueblo. This, coupled with a drought, caused famine. Hundreds died from epidemics, and others simply moved away to live at other pueblos. In 1838, the last of the Pecos people left this home and walked to the Pueblo of Jemez, where their descendants live today. They took with them the religious knowledge and customs they had learned and practiced at Pecos. Before leaving, the last inhabitants entrusted a special painting to St. Anthony's Parish in the village of Pecos. A symbol of the Pueblo's adoption of Christianity as another form of religion, this portrait depicts the patron saint bestowed upon the mission of Pecos in the 1620s. Every August, the village of Pecos fulfills its promise to perpetually honor the saint by celebrating a feast day mass in the remains of her final church. After the mass, Pueblo of Jemez often honors the place through traditional dances, prayers, and blessings. In this sense, Pecos has not been abandoned at all. The Pueblo and its people have simply parted company. As a junior ranger,
I promise
to
take care of and protect
Pecos
and all other special places. I also promise to continue to explore, to learn, to teach others, and to do at least 2 additional pages,
other pages so I can get my patch.
There you go. Okay, you are a 15 ranger now. You have sworn it.
Pecos thrived because of its location. The wide expanse of the Pecos Valley provided plenty of farmland. 2 year-round sources of water were nearby. That's the Glorieta Creek and the Pecos River 1 mile to the east. Spanish observers also reported springs and reservoirs near the Pueblo. Additionally, the commanding view of the entire valley alerted the Pecos to anyone approaching from the Rio Grande Valley or from the Great Plains. At 6,900 feet, frost comes early. The growing season could be short for corn, beans, and squash. A successful harvest depended on generations of experience. Farmers planted crops throughout the spring to prevent an unexpected late frost from killing an entire crop of young plants. Dozens of one-room field houses throughout the valley show that watchful eyes were always on the crops. The Pecos conducted ceremonies to ensure the earth's fertility and during summer to bring rain. The Pecos livelihood did not depend on farming alone. They hunted elk, deer, antelope, and small animals nearby. They raised turkeys and harvested plants, seeds, and roots growing in the valley and mountains. They also took advantage of wild plants, animals, and trade. The Pueblo's location near the pass connecting the Great Plains and the Rio Grande Valley provided many opportunities to trade. Pecos Pueblo hosted large trade fairs attended by Plains people and their pueblos. Corn, beans, squash, and pottery were traded to Plains groups for hides, buffalo meat, and stone tool materials. Whether through trade or careful plantings, the Pecos had an impressive food store by the time the Spanish arrived. One observer reported thousands of bushels of corn stored in the pueblo. The Franciscan priests who arrived with the Spaniards brought change to the Pueblo world. The priests assigned to Pecos had one goal: to teach the Pecos people to become Catholic subjects of the Spanish Empire. To help accomplish this goal, the priest oversaw the building of, worked in, and centered his life around the mission. The Franciscans relied heavily upon native labor to construct such an enormous church complex.